People ask me a lot, what do I need to do to increase the value of my business? And they expect me to tell them make more profits and grow. And I say, no, figure out the risk points of your business and manage them. The rest will take care of itself. And it has far more impact, and you can control your risk much more than often you can control your profitability and growth. The higher the risk, that's going to lower the value of the result, and so therefore the lower the value of the business. Now here's the kicker. Because the risk value is in the denominator, you get a multiplier effect, right? If I increase cash flow by 10%, because on the numerator, my value goes up by 10%. If I decrease risk by 10%, because in the denominator, my value goes up by 100%.
Wow.
It's great if you have cash flow that's stable. It's even better if it's actually growing on a fairly consistent basis. If you give me a business with $1,000 a year cash flow and it's not growing, and one that has $1,000 of cash flow but it is growing, I want the one that's growing. If I don't know what my business is worth right now, one, maybe I'm already rich and I don't know it. If the value of the business is not as high as you would like it to be or feel like you need it to be, you need to understand what's going to take you from what the value is today to what you'd like it to be 3, 5, 10, 20 years from now. And then your business plan is to figure out what do buyers want to buy, make my business look like that. If you don't know the value of the business, you don't know why the business exhibits the value it does, then you're basically just trying random things and hoping it works out. You tell potential buyers, I'm thinking of selling my business. Not going to sell my business, I'm thinking of selling my business. And I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be or what that's going to look like, but if that's of interest to you, I'll make sure you know when I make that decision.
Very, very
and
smart.
And that gives you at least initial indications of interest, and you have plausible deniability. What you do is you engage with those people on social media, and then connect with them, send them a direct message saying, hey, it looks like my business is a profile that matches what you guys buy. I'm thinking of selling. Are you interested?
And I can do that with a competitor as well.
Yep.
That's great.
I think the best time to sell your business is when you're just as happy running the business and owning it as you would be to not have the business and take the money off the table. Again, that empowers you to walk away. Also, that probably means that you have a good business to sell, right? If you're happy running it, it's making you a lot of money, that's a good story. You know, if you think you're ready, you'd be ready to sell in a year, that's the time to start preparing. You know, it's remarkable how many business people don't prepare for an exit. They'll prepare their house for a sale. They'll fix up the kitchen and mow the lawn and put some plants in and stuff, but they won't do it with their business. And the business is usually 10 times more valuable or 100 times more valuable. So prepare, and the more time you give yourself to prepare, the better and more impactful will be that preparation.
Can you talk about the mental side?
I think the mental side is really one very simple thing that's also one of the hardest things to do. I think the most important is a willingness to embrace change. If you're the owner of the business and it's not doing as well as you would like or as it needs to be sellable, as the owner, one way or the other, it's your fault. Full stop. The good news is that that's actually good news. When it's your fault, you can stop doing the things that make your business underperform. You can stop ignoring your monthly P&L reports. You can stop tolerating bad behavior by your employees. You can stop overcompensating salespeople for basically just taking orders or selling products to existing customers. You can stop taking money out of the business instead of investing it. You can stop failing to delegate and developing bench strength so that it's no longer so dependent upon you. So you can change. If there's one superpower anybody can develop to maximize the value of their business, it's the power of self-change.
What are the key factors that will increase the value of my business?
It's all about risk. You want to increase the value of your business quickly is de-risk it. The two biggest risk factors one normally sees is key person. Too much of the value is wrapped up in one person, like the guy who accounts for 75% of sales. Often key risk lies in the founder.
But if I want to reduce the risk in my business, what's the go-to thing to do?
make sure it's not overly dependent on one person. Okay. And the second one, it's a very close second, so I got to mention it here, is customer concentration. If you've got a customer that accounts for more than 20% of the revenue of your business, you've got a problem. You got to find a way to diversify it.
What's the approach to negotiating a business sale? How do I get the other side on board with the terms?
I think negotiation comes down to two things. It comes down to asymmetry of information. Who knows more about the business and the market, and then what your walk-away point is. Okay? If you don't have a walk-away point, you're not negotiating at that point. You're just asking and hoping that somebody buys your business. So this is why developing the right kind of business is important, because it gives you the power to walk away. If you can't walk away, you cannot negotiate. Second, it bears repeating. If you're not getting the price you want, then negotiate on the terms. Right? If you're not winning on one battlefield, change the battlefield. Third is don't turn the negotiation into something that's overly adversarial. Yes, you and the buyer are both trying for the same thing, but it doesn't have to be overly adversarial. If you ever have to raise your voice in a negotiation, I think you've lost. In fact, when I'm helping somebody negotiate and they raise their voice, I already know I'm going to win, because that tells me they're scared. And when people are scared, they make lousy decisions, and they're subject to manipulation. And unfortunately, I'm very good at that. So maintaining your calm, always being the adult in the room, no matter how badly you think things are going for you, in the end, always serves you extremely well. When you have a scarcity mindset, you feel like this is the only person or only company that's ever going to want to buy my business, so I have to make this deal work. And that creates a lot of stress, and that leads to potential emotional breakdown. With a growth mindset, you say, I'd love to sell it to these people, but if they're unable to see the value that I see in the business, I'm simply going to move on to somebody who does see the value of the business. I'm going to have a more constructive conversation. Raising money sucks. A lot of rejection. It's a lot of kissing frogs, meaning you're talking to people who say they're investors, but they're really not. It's a lot of trying to patiently explain your business concept to people who don't understand, never will understand. It can be time consuming, it is energy using, and can be soul crushing. But when you try to raise too much capital, you're going to be doing it at a lower valuation. You're going to be selling more of the company than you should. And you're going to find fewer investors that have an appetite to provide that much capital to a company at a very early stage. So I advise almost every client, raise exactly the amount that you need now and be prepared to go out to the market later.
How can I maximize the business value and get the best price when selling?
Years ago, it once said, I'll give you any price you want as long as I get to name the terms. If I get the right terms, the price is going to take care of itself. Sell your business to your employees. Your employees already know about the business. I call it the magic valuation formula. The equation is simply cash flow times 1 plus your growth rate divided by required rate of return minus your growth rate, or otherwise known as the capitalization rate.
What's the approach to negotiating a business sale? How do I get the other side on board?
I think negotiation comes down to two things.
What are the key factors that will increase the value of my business?
It's all about risk. De-risk it. The key risk lies in the founder. Great example, just look at Starbucks. A lot of people don't consider the option of just hiring somebody to run it for them. If you hire the right CEO, it's going to make you more money.
When is the perfect time to sell a business, and how do I know?
I think the best time to sell your business is when